Wallach is the doctor. He's the doctor, but we've also got people that help put this call together. Tom Chenault, one of the top 25 earners in the whole industry, and he's here with Youngevity. He's here to help us grow our business. I would like to welcome Dr. Joel Wallach, who I believe is the best naturopathic doctor on the planet. He's got a book in the Smithsonian. He's been nominated for a Nobel Prize in Medicine, speaks at the UN, and I'm proud to say he's my mate. This call is for everybody. Doesn't matter whose team you're in, if you're a customer or a distributor, don't matter where you are. And if you are interested in doing the business, contact your referrer or upline at the end of the call. Dr. Joel Wallach, the floor is yours. And we would love to hear about part of your life's work, what brought you to this point, and we're in 2020, so yeah, and Corona and everything. So Dr. Wallach, welcome.
Okay.
Aloha.
Well, thank you, and God bless all of my Australian mates, all the Jills, and especially, okay, and all the guys as well, all the blokes. And I just, what makes me different, thank you, is that I have a degree in agriculture. My major is in animal husbandry and nutrition. Grew up in a little Angus farm in central Missouri. And my major is in animal husbandry and nutrition. My minor was in field crops and soils. I have a degree in veterinary medicine from the University of Missouri also. I have half a degree, the first half of my degree in pathology from the University of Missouri. And wrote my first paper, scientific paper, in 1962, when I had just finished my degree in agriculture and was 2 years into my studies for veterinary medicine and had just started my pathology work at the University of Missouri. And I ran into the first mass die from pollution in Missouri, and I got it written up. Everybody else was on vacation. I got it written up, and everybody said, well, we weren't here, so it's your paper. So I got it published in scientific journals. It was my first scientific publication. I was 22 years old. I gave copies to senators and governors and to Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show, because I had worked for him in the kiddie zoo at the St. Louis Zoo as a kid in school, in high school. And graduated 1964. I was going to go to Iowa State University and finish up my pathology degree. It'd take 2 years. And 1 year into that, Perkins sends me a letter and said, look, I need you to go to Africa and work on the white rhino conservation project, so you can't refuse him. So he said he'd help me get back into graduate school when I was done. It might be 2 years, 5 years. Went to Africa, worked at the Umfolozi and Shushlui game reserves. Also worked in Zimbabwe on the elephants, worked in the white rhino in southern Africa, again, Umfolozi and Shushlui. Caught 200 of them, sent them here, and I apologize for the helicopters going down here. We're right on the path for them to go to the Mexican border and catch all the illegals. And so after 2 years of catching 200 white rhinos, so if you have a white rhino in your wild animal parks or your zoos, it's either one that I caught or offsprings of the ones that I caught, because there's only 470 left at the time, okay, and now there's over 25,000, so I'm very proud of that work we did and saved the white rhino. And I'm prepared to stay there forever. I'm living in the bush. Never spoke English for 2 years. I only spoke Afrikaans, Matabele, and Afrikaans. So Perkins sends me another letter and said, look, using your paper, I got a $25 million grant from the National Institutes of Health to study diseases of pollution in the zoo animals in the big zoos around the United States, and also in people who live close to the zoos. I need you to be the pathologist. So he said, I'll help you get back to Africa if that's what you want to do, and we're done. So I came back, worked on that for 10 years, did 20,000 autopsies, 17,000 some change of over 454 species of zoo animals and 3,000 human beings in that particular project. And as you pointed out, the thesis for my postdoctoral fellowship, which is kind of like a PhD degree, is in the Smithsonian Institute's National Treasure, because I showed there were no genetically transmitted diseases, there were no genetically transmitted birth defects. And along with Bruce Lipton, an English guy, he and I started a new science called epigenetics, okay, which takes the place of genetics, okay? Epigenetics says that the environment is the cause of these diseases, and I found out, and I was able to prove that nutritional deficiencies cause all the birth defects, except obviously if there's a viral infection in the first couple of weeks of pregnancy, or if there's a poison. Thalidomide was an Australian drug given to women for morning sickness. And there were 10,000 American babies born in America whose mothers had taken thalidomide, who were born without arms and legs, because that was a drug that actually produced that birth defect. So I was kind of introduced to all that kind of stuff. And then epigenetics represents 8,000 human autopsies. And so everybody who's dealing with Youngevity and our products and our programs really needs to get that book, Epigenetics. And Rare Earth-Ridden Cures, we have a CD that goes along with Rare Earth-Ridden Cures. And the whole idea here is that people want to be taking the 90 essential nutrients, which all vertebrates require. All vertebrates, whether you're a hummingbird or an alligator or a wombat or a human being or an elephant or a giraffe, dog, cat, crocodile, all vertebrates require these 90 essential nutrients for their stem cells to repair damaged cells, make new cells, and your cells die from just natural death. And if you take these nutrients, okay, the 90 essential nutrients for say 3 to 6 months prior to conception, prior to the sperm fertilizing the egg, we can eliminate all birth defects. It's that simple, okay? Obviously, some birth defects, you can still fix them after the baby's born, like cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy. And there's a big story for that, but we don't have time for that story. But we've eliminated muscular dystrophy, we've eliminated cystic fibrosis through Youngevity legal suits in the federal courts here in America, forcing the makers of baby formulas such as Enfamil, Similac, which they sell in Australia and New Zealand, also for babies. And doctors were saying, oh, don't put those nutrients in the baby formulas, they're poisonous. I worked for 25 years, but we finally got them put into the baby formulas and ended cystic fibrosis, ended muscular dystrophy, and I was also able to end sudden death syndrome, because only 2% of the babies that died of sudden death syndrome were in bed with their mothers when they died. The other 98% died of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, which is Keyshawn disease. Dr. Milan and I did 1,700 autopsies in kids under the age of 10 in Keyshawn province, China. And 35% of those kids we did autopsies on had cystic fibrosis, 100% had muscular dystrophy, and 200 under the age of 1 year of age would have been diagnosed with sudden death syndrome here, all due to nutritional deficiencies. So we've been able to wipe all of them out through the help of the federal courts, demanding that the baby formula producers put these nutrients in the baby formulas. Doctors, medical doctors are saying, don't put those things in there, they're poisonous, they'll kill the babies. And so millions of babies died over a 25-year period around the world because doctors refused to recommend these nutrients be put in baby formulas. Finally, I got the federal courts to land on our side because they couldn't argue with 1,700 autopsies. Well, there's over 600 different diseases that we have programs for, and I urge everybody to, again, get a hold of our books. We have what I call the quartet of books: Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, Passport Aromatherapy, and It's All in Your Head. You don't have to go to a doctor's office to get diagnosed with diabetes. You can go to a pharmacy without a prescription, get the test strips for your urine, your blood, and in 3 minutes time for $1.50, which is the cost of one of those test strips, you'll know if you have diabetes or not. You can do your own blood pressure. You can take your own pulse. Okay, and you can take a test strip and see if anything's going on with your kidneys. We have programs. I take people who have not urinated in 10 years. They've been on dialysis 6 days a week for 10 years. They were on dialysis 3 days a week for 18 years before that. And in 2 weeks' time on our program for dialysis, in 2 weeks, they're urinating again. So they dropped them back down from 6 days a week dialysis to 3. And in 2 more weeks, they're totally off of dialysis after 25 years. Because dialysis should not be given to people with kidney failure because there's nothing wrong with the kidneys. It's always the arteries are blocked, carrying the dirty blood into the kidneys. So I learned how to deal with the arteries to get the dirty blood into the kidneys, and so all the problems stop. Also, nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate ice cream. They occur in veins like gold and silver and coal. And so for a doctor to say, oh, don't waste your money on any vitamins and minerals, just eat well, you get everything you need. And I'm sure they say that, doctors say it in Australia as well as they do in New Zealand and the United States. And any doctor who said that really should have their licenses taken away, because that would be the same as your mechanic saying, do not put oil in your car, you're just wasting your money. Just take some dirt from the oil fields of Australia or New Zealand or the United States and put that dirt from the oil fields in your car. there's bound to be some oil in there. Now, even an insane person would scream and run out the door and tell everybody how horrible that mechanic is, not to go there because he's going to burn your car up by putting dirt from the oil fields in there instead of oil. But when a doctor says, oh, don't waste your money on vitamins and minerals, just eat well. Oh, my doctor says I can get everything I need just by eating well, so I'm not going to take any supplements. Then a big study was done by Johns Hopkins, one of our very, very famous medical schools in Baltimore, Maryland, Johns Hopkins Medical School. It started out in 2013 and it ran even through today. And they were looking at the top causes of death in hospitals in the United States, not clinics outside the hospital, not medical centers, but just hospitals in the United States. And to make a long story short, they found out that number one cause of death is heart disease. Now, they don't say, they didn't break it down. Did people just get heart disease? They had a heart attack and they go to the hospital and die? Or did 50% of them or 80% of them die from complications of surgery and infections and drugs and all kinds of stuff? Number two, again, was cancer. Did they get cancer and go to the hospital and die of cancer? Or did they die of chemotherapy and radiation and cancer drugs and infections following procedures? Number three was medical errors. Medical errors was the number three cause of death in American hospitals. And in 2013, they said it was 251,000 Americans are killed. That's the word Johns Hopkins used, not me. I'm just repeating what they published. 251,000 Americans are killed each year, the number three cause of death in hospitals, by simple medical errors. 6 weeks ago, they came out and redid it again. They said now it's 440,000 die each year from medical errors, the number three cause of death in American hospitals. How many businesses could stay in business if they killed 251,000 to 440,000 of their customers or workplace? They'd be out of business in 0.3 of a millisecond. How come doctors are still in business? How come these hospitals are still open? Okay, so there's a double standard. Doctors literally get away with murder, and somebody who owns a sun tanning thing and you get burnt, you're going to sue them. Okay, and so I find this kind of interesting. Well, the way to deal with this is every vertebrate, including humans, need to take the 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minerals, 3 fatty acids, and plants can make beta carotene, which you can convert to vitamin A. Plants can make things like B vitamins in the beans and seeds and things of that nature, and some grains. But plants cannot make minerals, and minerals make up 2/3 of the 90 essential nutrients. Plants only need 3 elements from the soil. That's why commercial fertilizers only have NPK in it. And so if you're not supplementing and you're only eating commercially grown plants in big farms, they've only had NPK put in them, you're 57 minerals short. And that's why you have these, what they call these pre-existing conditions. By the time you're 60, 70 years old, you might have 6, 8, 10, 12 different diseases: high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, pulmonary disease of all kinds, kidney failure, on dialysis. And that's because these are all nutritional deficiencies. You're only getting food that only has 3 mineral elements in it, NPK. Okay, so you have to supplement to make sure you're getting it. Just like you put oil in your car to make sure you have coolant in your car. You put water and coolant in your radiator, and you have a fan belt to drive the fan to make sure. Now, if something goes wrong with any of that stuff, you get a red warning light on the dashboard of your car. Now, the red warning light does not cause the car to burn up, but it's telling you if you don't stop and fix the fan belt and put coolant in your radiator and fill up your oil, you could burn your engine up. So it's that red warning light, okay? Well, our red warning light, we call it the metabolic syndrome: obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and elevated triglycerides. And there's a long story with that, but that's what we call the metabolic syndrome. If you have that and you get COVID virus, you're going to get serious complications, be in hospital for a long time, may have some permanent damage. You may even die. When you're a 3-year-old and you don't have any of those problems yet, you only have 3 to 5 days worth of common cold-like symptoms because your bone marrow is still happy and alive and getting nutrients, and the white blood cells are killing the virus and eating them, and your stem cells are sending out antibodies to kill the virus, and your platelets keep you from bleeding to death. But if you can't make platelets, one of the biggest complications in older people from COVID-19 is hemorrhaging and weird blood clots in the capillaries that don't have platelets in them, because they don't make platelets anymore, because they don't have the nutrition for their bone marrow to make platelets. These weird blood clots in the capillaries. Now, there's a very famous guy, 74 years old, a billionaire, Herman Cain, who is the CEO of Godfather Pizza. And he was diagnosed the last day of June of this year with COVID-19, put in a private hospital, given oxygen and intravenous pharmaceuticals to kill viruses. Before the end of July, in 29 days, he was dead. Now, he had 8 of these pre-existing conditions, including obesity, and he also had was diagnosed as colon cancer, which is supposed to be in remission, and so forth. So he had a total of 8 of these pre-existing conditions, and he died in 29 days after being diagnosed, and he was a billionaire, 74 years old. But he had been eating gluten, Godfather's pizza crust, for 25 years, okay? Now, gluten is your biggest enemy. Gluten, wheat, barley, rye, oats, whether it's in beer, whether it's in Scotch or bourbon or anything of that nature, okay? Whiskey, these things have gluten in them. So if you're going to drink beer, you should drink Japanese and Chinese beer made from rice. You need to live like an Asian. I mean, I've been living like an Asian for 50 years here, eating nothing but rice and sweet potatoes, and of course, meat and fish and so forth. I'll have vegetables, tomatoes and carrots and so forth, and salads. And we have a little small orchard in our backyard, and so we grow our own pomegranates and lemons and limes and grapefruit and so forth. And so, and then I take my 90 essential nutrients. I'm getting my 90, plus I take secret sauces for my joints because I'm very active. And so I have the secret sauces. Remember, we have secret sauces for over 600 different diseases. We have the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for musculoskeletal stuff. We have the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, which is our big hammer in the toolbox here for all the big heavy diseases people get. We have the sugar, let's see here, it's the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack if people have diabetes or narcolepsy or reactive hypoglycemia, and you know, on and on and on, okay? And so we have everything for infertility and prostate problems and women's infertility. We have women who are going through menopause. We have guys who have ED, erectile dysfunction. We take people who have brain problems such as Parkinson's disease, MS, Lou Gehrig's disease, but also they have Alzheimer's disease or other dementias. There's 8 total dementias. I always treat for all 8, and there's no rule that says you can't have 2 or 3 or 5 or all 8. So I always treat for all 8. And I've taken people who are in comas, diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, in a coma for 8 years, being fed through a G-tube. And it's a long story, but we gave them, you know, the maximum nutrition and with all our 90 essential nutrients and 3 eggs with each of the 3 meals during the day. And to make a long story short, after 8 years of being in a coma in a nursing home, in 3 days they wake up and go back to work at the bank as a bank officer. They thought they were only asleep one night. They didn't even realize that they'd been in a coma for 8 years. Okay, so these are the sort of things we do with nutritional supplements and getting people off of gluten. You have to get people off of gluten because gluten is one of the biggest problems of modern society. And it's the reason why we have, for instance, when you look at a country like, Thailand, okay, Thailand has 66 million people in it. They have 3,461 cases of COVID, only 58 deaths. Mexico has 128 million population. They have 652,000 infections and 69,000 deaths. Now, the reason is Mexico eats everything as flour, wheat, barley, rye, and oats, whereas in Thailand, everything is rice. There's no gluten in rice. That's why they only have 58 dead. Okay, they're the only ones who are dead are the ones who are living in Wuhan type places where there's Western visitors and they have a lot of wheat there for the Western visitors. Okay, now Wuhan, China, that's why it started there, because there's a lot of Western visitors go there, so they do have gluten there. And I'll give you one more piece here, and I'll give you a nice summary and tell you what's going on with the business side of this Youngevity thing. But when you look at India, They have, I didn't realize this, but they have 29 states and 7 territories in India. And in India, they have 10 of these states, they call them the northern states. They have 95% of the deaths. They represent 30% of the total population. They have 95% of the deaths and 86% of the infections. Whereas the southern states have 16% of the infections, only 5% of the deaths. So what's the difference? They're the same people. Well, the difference is the ones in the north live on wheat as their source of grain, and the ones in the south live on rice. They're eating more like the Asians. They don't have any gluten, so they're able to absorb nutrients. They absorb nutrients. Their bone marrow can make white blood cells, platelets, red blood cells, and antibodies to kill the viruses and prevent bleeding to death and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where it's very easy to see what's going on here. And of course, everybody's putting their hopes and prayers into vaccines and antiviral drugs and so forth, but they haven't dealt with the basic underlying problem. So it may give a little bit of relief for a year or two, but when the susceptible population comes along again, they've been still eating gluten all this time, they don't have any way to defend themselves. So then the next virus goes through, just like we had 10 years ago, we had the SARS and the MERS, and then 100 years ago, we had a pandemic with the Asian flu, which is really H1N1, and it was crazy. Back then, in India, since the entire country of India was eating wheat back then, they had 20 million people die in 6 months. They had 110 million get infected in 6 months. And today, after almost 9 months, India has, let's see, instead of 110 million infections, they have 4 million infections. And instead of 20 million deaths, they have 72,000 deaths in India. Okay. And that's because now 2/3 of them are eating rice and not gluten. So instead of being way up there, the numbers way up there, they're down. And so this is, you know, all in the book, Epigenetics. It's all in the book. It's all in your head. This is my newest book. Okay, you can get it either on ebooks through Amazon or Apple or Kindle. Okay, and it was a #1 bestseller a couple of weeks ago. It was an ebook. Okay, very proud of that. It goes into the 25 different diseases you get from osteoporosis of the skull. Your doctor never talks about osteoporosis of the skull. They only talk about osteoporosis of your vertebrae, maybe your leg bones and your shoulders and so forth, but they never talk about your skull and all the 25 different diseases you can get when you have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 12 pairs of cranial nerves and squeezing your spinal cord. And also, one of my favorite books, and there's a CD that goes along with it, is Immortality. We accumulated all the longest lived cultures on Earth, what they eat, where they live, analyses, agricultural analyses of their soil. So we have all the minerals that they take in and so forth. It's all in that book, Immortality, and the CD, Immortality. And so you can add, by doing the Youngevity program, you can healthily, economically, safely add 25 to 50 healthy years of your life. Human beings, the oldest ones documented, are well over 200 years of age. This is written up by James Hilton, okay, a New York Times investigative reporter in the early 1930s, in a book called Lost Horizon. It was such a popular thing, they made a movie out of it. And he invented the term Shangri-La, which is this place where everybody's supposed to live forever. But they have the most nutritional minerals in their soil because glaciers there grind up the rocks in the canyons. And of course, I'm going to end up here with the Great Barrier Reef. Being from Australia, you probably heard of the Great Barrier Reef. Well, why is the Great Barrier Reef in trouble? Why is that? Well, 25 years ago in Queensland, okay, which is the state of Australia that the Great Barrier Reef kind of hugs, had 3 major dams put on the major rivers coming from the volcanic mountain chain inland in Queensland. And up until they put up those dams, the rivers were taking all the volcanic ash down and feeding the algae that was feeding the reefs. Now the algae takes the carbon dioxide out of the air. It's the biggest collection of plant life on Earth is in the ocean, algae, plankton, that kind of stuff. Well, algae takes the carbon dioxide out of the air, breaks it down into oxygen, pumps it out in the atmosphere so we can breathe it. They take the carbon gas and turn it into carbon chains for amino acids, carbohydrates, sugars, and also fiber for the plant stems and leaves and so forth. But when you cut off the food supply to that algae in the ocean, because you've dammed up the rivers and all the silt from the volcanic ash is backing up the river and not getting to the ocean anymore, we've killed the ocean and we've killed the reefs by cutting off the food supply to the algae. Now, I did all the research and I found out a lot of people got their PhD degrees studying algae. And they found out many years ago that algae requires 20 nutrients to convert carbon dioxide gas into oxygen and carbon chains. 20 nutrients, 17 of which are minerals, which come from the volcanic ash. Okay, that's why almost all reefs are associated with volcanic mountain chains and volcanic chains, islands, volcanic island chains. Okay, so everybody dams up the rivers to make, right now there's 1 million hydroelectric plants damming up rivers for electricity, 1 million. There's 2 million dams damming up rivers in the world for water conservation and also irrigation. There's also 400 million farm ponds, some of them the size of your breakfast table, these farm ponds, and they intercept the creek waters, okay, and get the silt out of that, and then the creek water goes on into the bigger rivers and to the oceans. Well, there's no more minerals left in there because all the minerals are dammed up behind the dams are in those farm ponds. And so this is what we've got to do to fix it. I can rebuild the Great Barrier Reef. I'm trying to get a grant to rebuild the Great Barrier Reef. The story was August of last year on the Extraordinary Technology Conference at Tesla. Okay, I was one of the 5 featured speakers. We do have these DVDs available. We have the maps of Australia where all the dams are. Okay, and which rivers were dammed up for electricity, and shows how the reefs died because of that. And they actually, 3 months later, the last 3 months of, let's see here, 2019, they published it in their magazine. Okay, so you can get it either in the written form or in the DVD form. And again, our goal here is to first rebuild the Great Barrier Reef and show the world how we can save it. Carbon fuels, fossil fuels are not the problem. Fossil fuels are not the problem. It's the lack of nutrition to the algae and the plankton in the ocean, which suck all the carbon dioxide out of the air and convert it into oxygen and carbon chains. And so, again, we're growing like crazy because we are an online business. And of course, I've had people with me for 30, 40, 50 years who make enormous amounts of money. And so we hope you guys are coming along too. I'm looking for when they lift the travel ban so I can actually get out there live and do a bunch of things with you guys. And we'll have a lot of fun. We'll play, but we'll also teach and we'll learn and we'll save lots of people. And, you know, we'll work with the wildlife, we'll work with the zoos, we'll work with the people. And you know, hopefully you'll make me an honorary Australian and an honorary Kiwi. Back to you, Jamel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And I just want to mention that I want to thank not only Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach is the doctor. He's a doctor, but we've also got people that help put this call together. Tom Chenault, one of the top 25 earners in the whole industry. And he's here with Youngevity. He's here to help us grow our business. He does calls. He helps us build our business. Now, if you want to be a distributor, get in touch with your upline. I do this for a living and I love it. I'm working with the best doctor and it's about as rewarding as you can get. So
thank you, Jamel.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. Thank you so much. Get in touch with your upline. That is what Tom Chenault would tell me to do if you want to learn how to do this business. So let's go to questions. We got a lot of Q&As, and thank you everybody for keeping yourselves muted. The reason why I like to do it this way, because Dr. Wallach can ask you some questions and you can talk to Dr. Wallach personally. So I've got all your questions. Thanks for RSVPing and everything like that. We're going to go to Robert Samuel. If you want to unmute yourself on your end and ask Dr. Wallach a question, tell us where you're from and go ahead.
Hello, thanks for the opportunity.
Hello.
Listen to Dr. Wallach on the CDs. This is actually quite a privilege.
Thank you.
I'm basically healthy, but blood pressure keeps overtaking me. And then the doctors, then I have to go to the doctors and they give me medication because it goes up high, 220 over 110.
Okay. Any
I-
other issues? Any diabetes? Any kidney problems?
Not a thing. No
Okay.
headaches.
Okay. Do
Pardon?
you have any varicose veins in your legs?
No.
Okay. Do you have any skin problems? Eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea?
No.
Any bowel problems? Constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, ulcerative colitis, anything like that?
No. All clear.
Okay. Any ringing in your ears? Any of that tone? The noise?
No.
Okay. Any dizziness or balance problems?
No. No.
Any hiccups? Any hiccups?
No.
Okay, Robert, how tall are you? How old are you? And how much do you weigh?
I'm 73. I'm 180 centimetres. I weigh 86 kg. 10 years
Okay.
ago, I weighed 105 and then I went off gluten and lost
Okay.
a kilogram and it's never come back.
Okay, so you're what? 230 pounds or 240 pounds, something like that? And
No,
or,
205. Oh, pounds, sorry.
yeah,
Yes, I'm a kilogram man now.
yeah. Okay, and how tall are you in inches or feet? Are you a 6 footer?
5'8".
5'8". Okay. Yeah, so you're a little bit heavy. Okay, and so, but you also have the high blood pressure. So what I want you to do is give up all the bad foods to maximize absorption. You're saying you've already gone gluten-free. So for everybody listening, no fried foods, no processed meats with nitrates and nitrites, no oils of any kind. I'm hearing music in the background now. Okay. No oils of any kind, no gluten, no wheat, butter, rye, oats, and no sugar. And then I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, the biggest hammer in our toolbox because of your age. I want you to make sure you're getting plenty of good stuff here. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, the full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to get 1 bottle of our MSM, so you can take 3 of those twice a day. If you can't get the MSM, you can get the Pro Joint FX, has a little bit of MSM in there. And you can take 3 of those twice a day, okay. And also want you to get our vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. And then specifically for the high blood pressure, I want you to take our Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And they're designed to support healthy blood pressure, but also healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in your coronary arteries, your heart, your brain, your eyes, your kidneys, and so forth, your legs. And by getting on this diet and taking these supplements, you'll lose about 10, 15, 20 pounds doing that. And, get on the program here, like every couple of weeks, give us an update on your weight and what else is going on with your blood pressure and everything, because you're going to have a good testimony that's going to help a lot of people. So we appreciate that, Robert. Okay.
Thank you, Robert. And everybody, do not worry. This is recorded. If you need a recording, let me know. I'll let your upline know. They're also uploaded as well, so you can get a copy of this as well. We're going to go to Elsie in Sydney now. Elsie, if you want to unmute yourself and talk to Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
You
Elsie.
there? Elsie.
Hi.
Okay. Elsie, how old are you? How much do you weigh and how tall are you?
I am 23 years old. My height is 169 and I weigh 70 kilograms.
Okay. So that's what? 70. Yeah. So you're about 150, 160 pounds. Okay. So, and how tall are you?
169 centimeters.
Yeah. Well, don't.
So 5.6.
Okay, 5'6". Okay, thank you. Okay, what's your health challenges? What's your question?
I currently have SIBO. I got tested for it about a month and a half ago. I started getting really bad, sorry to everyone listening, discharge and discomfort. I've had really bad bloating for the past 2 years. And then 3 years ago, I was just not feeling well. I went to the doctors and I got an overall blood test, and she did say I had a high blood count, meaning that I had infection in my body, but nothing was ever done. So with my holistic doctor now, he did the same thing, and it came back that my IGS blood count was high in all 3 categories. I don't know if, yeah, something like that, meaning that my body was fighting an infection. So that's when he made me go get tested for SIBO, and it came back. So my methane levels were 68, and they're meant to be less than 10.
Okay, you have to, I'm not familiar with that term. Okay. Do you have bowel problems, kidney problems, respiratory problems?
No, severe bloating. Severe bloating.
Oh, severe bloating. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have a gastrointestinal thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any diabetes or high blood pressure?
I have been tested for diabetes, and no.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You can do it yourself from now on, right?
Okay.
And so anyway, so you have bloating, gastric problems. So at 150 pounds, I'd have you get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens. Do you have any brothers and sisters with any problems?
Yeah, a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, mild, not as bad as me.
Okay. And so does anybody, do you or your brothers and sisters have any skin problems, any eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea?
No.
Okay. Do you have any, I think, respiratory problems, any asthma or bronchitis, anything like that?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, so you want to get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats of any kind, absolutely no oils, absolutely no gluten, no wheat, brown, rye oats. You want to live like an Asian, living on rice and sweet potatoes and vegetables and fish and poultry and red meat and so forth, right?
Okay, cool.
And okay, then I want you to take 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month, 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. Get another bottle of our selenium. Our selenium has 5 cofactors in it, so just going to the drugstore and getting a bottle of selenium won't count. You got to get our selenium with these other cofactors in there. So I want you to take 3 of our selenium twice a day, because 1 bottle of selenium comes with that healthy brain and heart pack. Then that's also going to support your immune system. And then I want you to take our ultimate enzymes, which we call the gallbladder in a bottle. And so I want you to take 2 of those, say 2 to 5 minutes before each meal with a couple ounces of water. That's going to very quickly help you with all that bloating and that kind of stuff. And I want you to call me, every 2 weeks, because I'm on every Friday with Jamel. So every 2 weeks, give me a call. I want to know what your weight is. I want to know how your belly stuff is going, and we can, fix things. But what you have is very common, and so your testimony is going to help a lot of people. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Just one thing, would that be causing the discharge and discomfort I feel?
Yes. Now, discharge, you're talking about vaginal discharge? You're talking about discharge? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you have gluten problems, you're not absorbing all the nutrients you're supposed to have to give to your immune system. So that's why you have all these chronic infections all over the place. Okay. Because your immune system, which is your bone marrow, your white blood cells, your platelets, your red blood cells, and all your stem cells to make antibodies, you need a lot of nutrition to do that. And you're going to have to get off of gluten and take the 90 essential nutrients. And it'll take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks for your bone marrow to kind of heal and begin to do what it's supposed to do. But you got to do this forever. When you're feeling good and everything's going right, you can't say, okay, I'm going back to where it was.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be right back in the hole again.
Yeah.
This is a lifetime change, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Good to talk to you, Elsie.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. You bet.
Thanks, Elsie. And we are going to go to Jacqui in New Zealand now. Jacqui, if you want to unmute yourself and ask Dr. Wallach a question, go ahead.
Hi, Jacqui. What's up?
Okay, I've got a bit of a challenge that's been going on for a while now. I did an all meat and fat diet, which is trending, and it's called carnivore. I did it for 8 months and it was supposed to be miraculous, but I deteriorated, lost weight, and it kept falling off despite me changing and introducing vegetables and things like that. And I've not been able to pick up my health. I have, I'll tell you the things I worked it out. I was 123 pounds and I dropped to 108. It wasn't a fast drop. I'm only 5'2", so I'm little. Ended up with what the last lady talked about, the SIBO, the small intestine, bacterial overgrowth. I did a hair analysis, and the hair testing over in the States was showing low iron, low sodium, low potassium, high tissue calcium, and relative to really quite low magnesium. One of the things I've suffered is, chronic insomnia, every second night awake all night, no hunger, all of that sort
No,
of things.
what about diabetes or high blood pressure?
No, blood pressure and things fine. Last time I had it tested were a little bit low on the lower side.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me take it from here. Okay.
Good.
When you have a hair analysis that shows kind of everything's kind of low except your
Yep.
calcium is high,
Yep.
you need to take more calcium. Okay. I'm going to give you a program with a lot of calcium in it. The calcium that's high in your hair is coming from your bones. Your parathyroid glands are pulling the calcium out of your bones because you didn't have enough to maintain the proper calcium levels in your blood. And if you go to chapter 11 in the book, Rare Earths of Cures, my book, Rare Earths of Cures, in chapter 11, it goes into how to read all of these hair analyses, okay? It tells you how to collect the hair, where to ship it, and all that kind of stuff. But you'll see that an all-meat diet is a very deficient diet, okay?
Yeah.
It's a very deficient diet. Because when you think about it, when a tiger eats an animal, when a lion eats an animal, when a jackal eats an animal, when wolves eat an animal, when bears eat an animal, the first thing they go for is the liver and the heart and the kidneys and the lungs and all that kind of stuff. They're not, and they're eating the soft bones and the cartilage and the ribs and things. They're not just eating the meat. Okay, and it's the reason why the slaves always outlived the plantation owners. The slaves are 110 years of age, and the plantation owners are dying at 45 because the plantation owners only ate meat, and the slaves were eating the livers and the bones and pig's feet and chicken feet and with all the ligaments and tendons and stuff in it, which the plantation owners looked as animal food, so they just ate the meat, just like you just did. Okay, so whoever's putting that out there as the perfect diet should be put in jail. Okay, okay, it's not even close. So at 108 pounds, you got to get rid of all the bad foods. Absolutely no bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, and oats, no sugar. I want you to eat like an Asian. I want you to eat like an Asian, rice and sweet potatoes, vegetables of all kinds. And if you like salad dressings, you can use lemon wedges or lime wedges and sprinkle the juice on there. We have a wonderful salt. We have a pink Himalayan salt with 84 minerals in it. We also have a pink Himalayan salt with black pepper ground up in it also from our savor division, which is our spice division. You can mix that with the lemon juice or the lime juice. If you prefer creamy salad dressing, you can get a sugar-free, gluten-free yogurt and use that as your creamy dressing. So you're going to stay away from the gluten, okay? And gluten is your worst enemy here, but you do need to eat more broadly, okay? And then I want you at 108 pounds, I want you to take one healthy brain and heart pack per month, one healthy brain and heart pack per month. I want you to get another bottle of our selenium with all the cofactors added to it. So one bottle comes with the healthy brain and heart pack, so you'll be able to take 3 of those twice a day. I want you to get also 1 bottle a month of the MSM, take 3 of those twice a day. If you can't get the MSM, you get the Pro Joint FX that has some MSM in it. Take 3 of those twice a day to help rebuild your bones and your cartilage and your ligaments and your disc between the vertebrae, because that high calcium in your hair, that's your parathyroid glands again pulling it from your bones. That's not from eating too much calcium. You see that pattern when you get a very, very deficiency in your diet of calcium. Okay, very high deficiency. So, and then I would also take our vitamin D3. Take 3 of those twice a day. Take our collagen. It's your body weight. I'd go ahead and take 3 or 4 of those twice a day. That'll be 1 bottle a month of the capsules. Or if you want to take 2 quarts a month of the liquid, take an ounce twice a day of our liquid collagen, and you'll be able to rebuild your bones and everything like that. And then say 6 months after you took that hair for the first hair analysis, get another hair analysis and see how everything has changed, because all those that are low will come up and the calcium levels will go back into the normal level as opposed to being high. Okay, because your parathyroid glands are able to go on vacation because they don't need to be pulling, or they don't perceive they need to be pulling calcium out of your bones, okay?
Okay. And so what will bring my So what will bring my hunger back?
Oh,
I have no hunger.
see, yeah. So when you do what I just told you, your
Yep.
your appetite will come back. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yep.
so you should be able to gain back the weight you need to gain. Okay. And just eat more rice and butter. If you want to gain weight, have rice and butter with each meal. Have half a baked sweet potato with butter in it with each meal. I have it with breakfast and dinner time. Okay, so I maintain my weight. I'm 81 years old, and most people think I'm in my 50s. You know, when they look at me, I don't have any wrinkles or anything, and I have high energy, and so they think, well, you can't have done all that stuff you're claiming, Wallach. How old are you? I said, well, I'm 81 years old. What? I thought you were 50. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're an amazing
Okay.
role model. We love you.
Okay. Love you too, Jacqui. Thank you, dear. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Jacqui. And also, when you guys and girls and giving me questions, let me know if you have a different name on your Zoom. Let me know what that is too, so I can go straight to your calls. Bruce has done this, so we're going to go to top end. I'm going to unmute you and say good day to Dr. Wallach. Tell us where you're from and ask him a question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yep, my name's Bruce Manley. I just want to let you know first, Dr. Joel Wallach, I'm a great big fan of yours, and I've been studying your stuff for about 10 years.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you. How can I help you today?
I just wanted to say that first. Look, I've got my dad beside me. He's 78 years old, and he's about 140 pounds, and he's 5'9" or 8, and we've been taking the tangy tangerine for a couple of years now, but we've had him on the strict, on a special program because he's got macular degeneration. Now we're into it about 4 months, and he's been he's constipated, and he's very dizzy in the head, and he's had to take himself off the products, and he's now feeling better.
Okay, question. Let me back up here. In addition to being dizzy, did he have any ringing in his ears? Any, you know, that tone, the tinnitus?
No. No. He's just,
no. Okay. Does he ever have any hiccups or respiratory problems? Asthma, bronchitis, COPD?
No.
Any skin problems? Eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis?
Yeah. He's got a bit of psoriasis. Yes.
Okay. And what about bowel problems? Constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, ulcerative colitis, diverticulitis, any of that kind of stuff?
He's never had constipation before, and he just is in how long?
Just getting it through taking this product.
Yeah. He's only experiencing it lately.
Okay. Well, he wasn't taking a full program. If all he was taking is tangy tangerine. Okay.
No. He's been taking the special program, like he's been taking 12 seleniums a day. He's been taking the Ultimate Daily Classic 3 times a day. He's been taking the Cell Shield. He's been taking the Osteo FX and the Tangy Tangerine, enough for a 200-pound person, and he's only 100.
Okay. What has he been taking? Any EFAs or EFA pluses?
Yeah, EFA pluses. Yeah. There's three twice a day. Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, now he has to be gluten-free to be able to absorb all that stuff.
Yeah, we've been very strict. Everyone's off gluten. We're off.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, if constipation is his problem, just keep going with that heavy program. Okay. But what I want you to do is get him what we call herbal rainforest. It has 13 cleansing herbs in it and 78 minerals. And he can start out with a tablespoon, which is a half hour before bedtime. And that'll usually give him a comfortable bowel movement. If he needs to, he can go to a half a tablespoon at half hour before bedtime and 1 in the morning. But usually start out with a half a tablespoon. Okay, and if that doesn't quite work, go to a tablespoon. If that doesn't work, then take a tablespoon at breakfast, tablespoon at dinner. But I start him out with a half a tablespoon at a half hour before bedtime. Again, it has 13 cleansing herbs in it and 78 minerals. And we give this to people who have constipation and bowel issues, and it gives them a comfortable bowel movement, once or twice a day. And so that's kind of where I would go with that.
I thank you very much, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Okay, Bruce. Okay, Bruce and family, you bet. God bless you, sir. Look forward to seeing you when I get back to Australia.
Thanks, mate. We've got
You bet.
7 minutes left. So I am going to go to Roger. Roger, if you want to unmute yourself, ask Dr. Wallach a question. And don't worry, this is recorded. So even Dr. Wallach sometimes speak quickly. I've got it recorded, so you can contact me or your upline to get a recording. Go ahead, Roger. Tell us where you're from and say good day to Dr. Wallach.
Yeah, hi, my name is Roger, and I'm from Sydney.
Okay.
I'm 80 years old. He's about 5'7", 155 pounds. He has myelodysplasia, and he has blood transfusion every week. His platelet average about 35.
Okay, stop. Now, he's getting a blood transfusion every week. Is that because he has anemia or low white blood cells, or why is he getting a blood transfusion every week?
Because he has myelodysplasia, he's got the haemoglobin is low.
Okay.
And the platelet is low.
Okay, I missed the second. What else was low?
He's a hemoglobin, the red cell, the hemoglobin.
Okay, yeah, okay. And so, okay, now that's because he's got a gluten problem. He's not absorbing the nutrients, so he's not getting nutrition to his bone marrow. The bone marrow makes hemoglobin. The bone marrow makes red blood cells. The bone marrow makes white blood cells. The bone marrow makes platelets. The bone marrow makes antibodies. And doctors love it when people eat gluten because they can't absorb nutrients. And so they give them iron shots every month. They give them B12 shots every month. They give them transfusions, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, they got 3 or 4 kids to send to college. And so they need the money to send them to college. So they keep doing all these things which treat the symptoms, but they don't get to the basic root cause of the problem, which is a gluten thing. So at 155 pounds, is this your dad?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he needs to get off of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, and oats, no sugar. He needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. I want him to have 3 of the MSM tablets twice a day. That'll be 1 bottle a month or big bottles. If he can't get that, he can get a couple of bottles a month of the Pro Joint FX, take 3 of those twice a day. Vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. And then I also want him to have the immortalium, which is the special food for stem cells to make more white blood cells and antibodies and red blood cells and the platelets, okay? And so that's called immortalium. He can get 2 bottles of that a month and take 3 of those twice a day. And then remember, you got to get rid of all those bad foods to maximize absorption. And call every couple of weeks, because I'm on every Friday with Jamel and the crew here and so forth. So this is a very common problem in older people. And of course, the medical profession takes advantage of this, and they do very expensive and also potentially dangerous procedures like transfusions and coming in every week or every 2 weeks or every month for all these injections. A lot of times they'll give them transfusions of whole blood from other people so they get platelets also, okay? So it's one of those things where if you give them the raw materials and get them off of gluten so they can absorb the raw materials, their own bone marrow will make everything they need, so they don't have to have dysplasia of the bone marrow, dysplasia, okay? That's where the problem is. All righty?
And just the other thing is now, because his immune system very low, he's catching a lot of bacteria and is
yes. Yeah, that all goes away. That all goes away.
Okay.
Okay, because your immune system requires all these nutrients, which he's not getting because he's not absorbing. That's why he has dysplasia and low platelets and low hemoglobin and all that kind of stuff. Got to get off all the bad foods, take the 90 essential nutrients as I've laid out, and then it'll be a miracle. The doctors will scratch their head and say, I don't know what you're doing, but it's a miracle. And your dad should say, well, do you want to know what I'm doing so you can give it to your other patients? Nope, it's a miracle. And they just leave. They don't want to know. Don't tell me, I don't want to know. Okay, well, thank you so much, Roger.
Thank you so much. We got like 2 minutes, maybe one more question, Dr. Wallach. Is that okay?
Okay, good. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, we're going to go to Felicia. She's got a question for a 2-year-old. Felicia, if you want to unmute yourself and ask Dr. Wallach a question, go ahead.
Oh, hi, sorry. I might ask my second question instead. I was diagnosed when I was 18 with an underactive thyroid and with left frontal epilepsy. I've been on medication for 8 years now, and I was told by my neurologist that if I stopped taking my medication that I could possibly die.
Okay, stop. So you have seizures without the medication. You have low functioning thyroid.
Yeah.
How old are you and how much do you weigh?
I'm 26 years old and I weigh 132 pounds.
122 pounds?
132.
132, okay. All right. Do you have any skin problems or eczema, anything like that?
No, nothing.
And no respiratory problems?
I do have keratosis in my ear. That's the only skin condition I have.
Well, that's a skin condition, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any bowel problems or respiratory problems? Any asthma, bronchitis?
I do have bowel issues. I've always suffered with constipation.
Okay, well, guess what, dear? You got a terrible gluten problem, so you need to eat like an Asian. Sweet potatoes and rice and vegetables, absolutely no wheat, brown, or oats. Okay, rice, sweet potatoes and vegetables, no wheat, brown, or oats, no fried foods, no processed meats, no gluten, no wheat, brown, or oats, no sugar, no oils. And then at, let's see, 52 pounds?
32, sorry.
Okay, 132 pounds. Okay, I can't read my own writing here. 132 pounds. I want you to take one healthy brain and heart pack per month, get another bottle of our selenium. One bottle of selenium comes with that healthy brain and heart pack, so you can take 3 twice a day, half a dose of everything else twice a day. I want you to take for the thyroid, I want you to take our Ocean's Gold, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. You also have to stay away from cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and kale, because they interfere with thyroid function. And for the epilepsy stuff, I want you to take our de-stress capsules. Go ahead and take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. Our Ultimate Niacin Plus, 1 of those twice a day is 1 bottle a month. I also want you to have 3 eggs with a soft yolk twice a day. 3 for breakfast, 3 for dinner time. Hard-boiled eggs won't count because you want to give your brain the cholesterol, because 75% of your brain weight is cholesterol, and you can't absorb all that stuff because you have such a terrible gluten problem. All your constipation, your gluten problem will go away with all this program and the diet. Your thyroid will start working really good. And don't be too surprised because your epilepsy will go away too. But don't just drop cold turkey off your medication. Okay. After about a month or 2 on our program, then see if you can reduce your medication by 10%.
Okay.
And see how that goes. And you know, you go to the doctor on a regular basis and say, hey, check me out. I've reduced my medication about 10%. I'm taking a nutrition program to reduce my possibility of getting seizures. But you'll notice your skin problem should be getting better. Your energy should be getting better. Your thyroid problem should be getting better. Your constipation should go away. Okay. And so then call us and give us an update, because you have a very common set of problems which everybody has, and so they'll be really blessed to hear your good testimony. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. God bless.
Thank you, Felicia. Thank you, Dr. Joel Wallach. This will be uploaded to the New Zealand Facebook page within the next couple of days. Just give me time to put that together. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. Same bat time, same bat channel next week, Doc.
Yeah, you got it exactly right, Jamel.
Thank you very much. I'm going to unmute everyone so you got the chance to say aloha, and till next week to Dr. Wallach. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Aloha. Good day, mate.
Thank you.
All the best. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Dr. Wallach is the doctor. He's a doctor, but we've also got people that help put this call together. Tom Chenault, one of the top 25 earners in the whole industry, and he's here with Youngevity. He's here to help us grow our business.